All right, so today we're going to dive into the Hindi film Andaman. And let me tell you, it tells this really powerful story about one guy's integrity up against a system that's just completely broken. What's so interesting is that the story actually starts at the end, with our main character, an officer, basically on trial for his entire career.
And boom, they hit him with this right off the bat. This is the main accusation thrown at our protagonist, Abhimanyu Pratap. He's in like the most important interview of his life, and the board, they are not holding back. You can just feel how this one sentence hangs over absolutely everything.
And the stakes? They couldn't be any higher. See, he's already failed this exam 3 times. So the board basically tells him, look, this is it. This is your last chance. His whole dream is riding on this one moment. It's all on the line.
Then they just pile it on. A whole laundry list of devastating charges from just a 2-month stint he did as a panchayat secretary. We're talking gross negligence, misuse of power, endangering lives, and the big one, being responsible for the deaths of 2 people. I mean, how do you even begin to defend yourself against all that? It feels impossible.
So after all that, they ask him the million-dollar question. And his answer? It's a confident yes. Now, you're probably thinking, how? Well, to understand why he's so sure of himself, we've got to rewind. We need to go back and see what exactly went down during those 2 months.
All right, so this is where it all starts. This is Abhimanyu's defense. He's got to justify every single call he made, all while under this incredible pressure. And it all begins with how he even ended up with this job to begin with. So, yeah, how did he get here? Well, after failing his big civil service exams, his dad gets some pretty blunt advice. And what sounds like, a consolation prize, a job born out of failure, it actually turns out to be the start of this wild, unexpected journey.
Okay, so where did they send him? Well, this wasn't just any village. We're talking about a place so isolated, so completely cut off from everything that the locals had given it its own special and very telling nickname.
Right. So the locals, they don't even call it by its official name, Bulampur. They call it Andaman. Like the super remote Andaman Islands, and that name just perfectly captures the whole problem, doesn't it? It's this patch of land, totally cut off by a river, with absolutely no easy way to get in or out.
And this right here just puts it all into perspective. Get this, the village is only 5 kilometers away from the city, if you're a bird. But for everyone else, without a bridge, that same trip is a whopping 65 kilometers, a massive detour. So the big takeaway isn't just that it's inconvenient. No. This one missing bridge literally defines and suffocates the entire village. It cuts them off from everything, resources, jobs, and especially help.
So as soon as he gets there, Abhimanyu figures out who's really in charge. Turns out, the official village head, the Pradhan, he's just a puppet. The real power, it belongs to this big local landlord who just put his servant in the position to check a box for a political requirement. The landlord's the one pulling all the strings.
And this puppet Pradhan, he paints a really bleak picture of the village. It's not just undeveloped, it's been completely abandoned by the system. The school, it only opens for paperwork. Healthcare, pretty much just superstition and old folk remedies. And electricity, yeah, they get it for 12 hours, but only to water the landlord's fields. So they're self-reliant, sure, but not because they want to be. It's because they've been totally and utterly neglected. So you have this already incredibly fragile situation, right? Well, it's about to get pushed to the absolute breaking point because a massive global crisis is about to land smack dab in the middle of this forgotten little village. You remember this. As news of the coronavirus starts spreading across India, panic just explodes. A nationwide lockdown is announced. And the administration? They're scrambling, forced to make these huge, drastic decisions on how to contain this thing.
And this is where the cynical logic kicks in. Abhimanyu's boss basically says, why Andaman? Well, it's simple. Because it's so disconnected. The village's biggest problem, its isolation, is suddenly seen as its best feature. It's a convenient place to dump the problem, to keep the filth, and yeah, that's the actual word he uses, away from the city. Just awful.
So, just like that, this huge life or death responsibility gets dropped right in Abhimanyu's lap. And remember, he's a junior officer. This is his first post, and he's in a village with zero resources, no real infrastructure, and absolutely no support from above. So there he is, orders in hand, left completely on his own to manage this brewing crisis. A crisis that's being fueled by pure fear, wild misinformation, and, you guessed it, the total indifference of his bosses.
the problems just started piling up immediately. He had no basic supplies, his superiors were offering zero help, and the villagers themselves were absolutely terrified. They were hearing all these crazy rumors and already had this deep, deep mistrust of anyone from the government.
And listen to this quote from one of the villagers. It just perfectly captures the kind of insane, dangerous misinformation he was dealing with. People thought they genuinely believed that they were being sent to this quarantine center to be shot if they couldn't be cured. All because of some rumor they saw on WhatsApp. Can you imagine?
The fear was so thick, you could cut it with a knife. It got to the point where Abhimanyu had to use this really dark humor just to do a simple task, like taking someone's temperature. He actually tells a guy he's going to shoot him with a thermometer. It just goes to show you how absurd and tense things were on the ground.
So, in this total pressure cooker of chaos and fear, Abhimanyu's own principles, they're about to face their biggest test yet.
And then comes the moment of truth. He finds out that two of the guys who are supposed to be in quarantine, well, they're just strolling out of the center whenever they feel like it, completely ignoring the rules that are there to keep everyone safe.
So when he confronts them, they immediately try to pull rank. The message is crystal clear. Hey, you don't know who we are, we're connected, we're powerful, the rules for all these little people, they don't apply to us. They fully expect him to just crumble and back down.
But Abhimanyu, he doesn't budge, not 1 inch. He stands his ground and just lays down the law, plain and simple. He doesn't even threaten them, really. He just states the facts, the consequences. The rule applies to everybody, he says, no matter who you are or who you know. It's such a powerful moment, just pure integrity.
And that brings us full circle, right back to where we started. See, his choice to stick to the rules, to refuse to bend for the powerful, that's very likely what set off the chain of events that led to the tragedies he was blamed for. Which leaves us with this final, really tough question. When the system itself is completely broken, what is one person's integrity really worth?